how to do any of them.
And you don't trust him.
No.
You don't trust yourself to be in that system, because it's like night and day, right? And so I'm going to just bring the same person. We hear this a lot in recovery. You got to change the person you brought into the room.
Absolutely.
If you don't, you're doomed to repeat.
Yes. And that's why most people come home, most men that come home, their prison life was, I don't want to say comfortable, but so familiar that you're more afraid of the uncertainty of living this productive life versus going back to the insanity that is prison.
Yeah.
Because that's that familiar pain, that familiar trauma, other than the total unknown. I don't know what it's going to be like or what's in store for me if I get a job, pay my bills, be responsible, not cheat on my girlfriend, take care of my kids. I don't know where I will be with that.
Right.
But I know exactly what I'll be if I go smoke this, do this, get on this corner. There's no surprises. I'm going to get caught. I'm going to go to jail. I'm going to all these other things. However traumatic they may be.
And I'm sorry, sad part of that is that, did you feel safe in jail?
Yes.
Than you did out here?
Because I was able to make sense. As crazy it is, there's a simplicity to prison. I mind my business. There's certain rules. I walk down the tier. I don't look into the cell. They call that man's house. I don't look in there. I stay in my lane. There's a simplicity to it. Respect overrules everything.
Right.
It's not so simplistic when you get out and you come home. There's all these other responsibilities.
I think that's why families, even the clinical system, doesn't understand the vicious cycle that we put. Because I'm just thinking, as you're speaking, I'm thinking about the domestic violence relationships that I was in, and often people would say, why did you go back? And well, I went back because even though it's horrifying and I'm getting my shit kicked out of me, this person loves me because they said they love me.
Yeah.
I don't know who I'm getting older. I don't know who will ever love me. I don't even love me. Why would I expect anything? But at least this is familiar. This is what I've been conditioned to do. Be submissive.
Yep.
I did do a short stay in Morris County Corrections and County Jail in Morristown, New Jersey. And it was for distribution. And I was looking at 14 years, and I was in jail with some really roughneck women that I was not, again, accustomed to, and got my butt kicked quite a few times. Bought a lot of commissary for other people. My mother was like, you've gone through a lot, And of course, my mother, she was holding on to her own guilt. So she, just kept, shoveling the money, and paying for all these things that, that I got myself involved in. But long story short, looking back at that time that I spent in jail, I found it so easily to just mesh myself into that system.
Yes.
That as much as I wanted to come home, and I wasn't using drugs, there was women that were using drugs. I was one of the goody two shoes, and I was going to the AA meetings, because they would bring AA into the jail. But I was afraid to come out and start using again, because I had heard the message in the rooms that it was going to get worse.
Oh, yeah.
You were literally going to pick up where you left off, and it was going to be worse.
Actually, that's not true. You don't pick up where you left off.
Okay.
You pick up where you would have been had you not
stopped.
A lot of times we think we pick up where we left off.
Okay.
No, the progression is so bad that the first couple of days it may be slow going, but before you know it, nothing has changed. It's like you never left.
Yep.
And all hell broke loose. So literally you pick up where you would have been had you not stopped, because that addiction is still there. it's still growing, it's still manipulating, it's still whispering
Oh yeah.
on this side. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's what happens.
So take us there. Take us when that was your last before 17 years ago.
So it was weird because when I came home, I had did 9 years, 8 months, and 3 weeks off a 10-year sentence.
Mm-hmm.
System as clean as it can be. I was high before the sun went down when I came home October of 2004.
Wow.
I literally didn't make it 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I had a crack stem in my mouth before the sun went down. And then the next 40 years was pure hell of ripping and running and doing this. And I found myself December 22nd, 2008 at the Regal Inn Motel. I had been there for a little
That's
while.
in Hartford?
New Haven
Oh,
on
okay.
Whaley Avenue.
Oh, yeah.
And I had
Yes.
been there for a while, renting a room long stay, because I was the host of this party.
Mm-hmm.
You know that party that keeps you out, you're scared to go in because if you
Mm-hmm.
go in, you're going to miss so-and-so's going to
But
come
you
by,
need
whatever.
you need somebody to support your supply.
So
So, yeah,
I was the host of that party because
yeah.
I committed a robbery. I had a bunch of money, drugs, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but during that, it was, I always attribute the God of my understanding allowed me in a brief moment to feel all the misery that I was numbing myself from
Mm-hmm.
all my life.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling the misery like on a cellular level.
Mm.
My body was screaming, and I knew two things. I didn't want to go back to prison, and I didn't want to die.
Yeah.
But I knew if I didn't get up and leave that room, one or both was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I left that room, went and rented another room, locked myself in, and called the treatment facility that I was at previously that year, Carnes Wheats,
Okay.
in Torrington. And I walked in there Christmas Eve of 2008 with 2 days clean, and celebrated my first clean Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
or actually celebrated my first Christmas,
Right.
because we grew up as Jehovah's Witnesses. So I didn't experience all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I got my first gift from under a tree. And that was the start of this journey.
And how old were your kids then at that time?
So when my youngest daughter, Melanie, was 8 years old,
Mm-hmm.
Kwanda, I think 32, 31 or 32.
Mm-hmm.
No, 21 or 20. Yeah, she was like 20 or 21, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Kwanda was already a parent. Melanie obviously was still a child. Kwanda, my heart always went out to her simply because her entire life, her first 20 years of life, she had this dysfunction of a dad.
Mm-hmm.
Melanie, I've been clean longer than she's known this version of me a lot longer than not.
Right.
So she barely remembers that.
Mm-hmm.
But Kwanda, she went through all the mess with me.
Okay.
All the damage, all the dysfunction, all the hurt, all the abandonment and stuff like that.
Yeah. Did you find that with your younger daughter, your recovery, because you said she got more of you, but do you feel you were in a better place mental health wise, or
Later on in there, because
Mhm.
when I first started this journey, again, I didn't know about mental health the way I learned about it.
Yeah.
I thought things were just the way I thought. I just had a short temper.
Yeah.
I thought I was just always angry. Yes, I was angry a lot, but anger is a surface emotion. What was underneath that was a ton of pain.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how. I didn't know how to articulate. I feel less than. I feel insecure.
Mm-hmm.
I feel all these other things. I didn't know how to articulate that, but I knew how to express anger. So I expressed that. I walked around with a scowl. But then a couple of years in, and I started working through some things.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was able to be empathetic and understanding and talk to my daughters. Because also with Kwanda, when I first got clean, I had to let her be angry at me
Mm-hmm.
and let her be mad, because she earned that right. I deserved all that smoke from her because I created all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I had to own it and not try to fix it, not to take her pain away, not to remove it, but
Mm-hmm.
allow her the process of going through it
Yeah.
and just be consistently and available.
Mm.
We have an amazing relationship today.
That's awesome. And my relationship with my son, has ebbs and flows. Now he's a dad and has a family and he's out on his own. But those early days, again, I used during my pregnancy with him, and the guilt was so long. I had to just be in recovery over the guilt and shame that I experienced while trying to be that parent, where I was minimally parented. My mother just gave me things, just like that was the way of fixing it,
Yes.
not really diving into the truth and the trauma that I had experienced between her and my stepfather when she was in active alcoholism. But also with Ray, early on being diagnosed, with ADHD and trying to help him get through the school system and always wanting to be by his side. So these, few years, even before I moved to Las Vegas, is like, no, he's not my little baby anymore.
Yes.
He's 6'6", as it is, But it was like I found that I grew up so much by integrating, by being involved in his life and helping him through so much. But knowing that I needed to detach because there was a sense of codependency there,
Yes.
right? He was the reason and purpose I got up every day, and went to work and got married and so on and so forth. And, I think we both, my ex and I, we did an amazing job. And because he's an amazing dad. He's just like, I always say that in any podcast that I do, my son is an amazing dad. I have a slew of other questions here, and
Come on, let's go.
I'm just looking through. I want to, gosh, I'm really interested in, once because I know you were going to school when we did the recovery coaching class. You were going to school to get
just to become a counselor.
No,
when we started the recovery class, I have already finished becoming a drug counselor. I was sitting to take my test for certification, sit down.
Got it.
It was a delay because COVID and all that stuff.
Right. And then when did you get licensed as a clinician?
Oh, that was a few years later.
Yeah.
Actually, no. So I'm not licensed only because
you're a drug and alcohol counselor.
Yeah,
but it's
only because I don't want to. I'm just being stubborn. I don't want to do these remaining credits.
Yeah.
I literally have maybe a semester.
You're not alone. I didn't want to do it either.
I don't want to do it, so I'm being stubborn, which makes no sense. But yeah.
And it is, again, it's different labels behind your name. Yeah. Maybe a little bit more cha-ching. You can have.
It was so exciting at first when I was able to put some letters behind my name.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so exciting. I loved it. I used to put every last one of behind every time I put my name down.
Yeah.
But then after a while, it just becomes the norm. So it's like, do I need something else? I already do this.
Right.
Am I going to start my own practice or do these things? Probably not. I'm closer to retirement than rehire. So I'm enjoying I'm enjoying working at the methadone clinic. I told them from the beginning I don't want a position of authority. I just want to be another bozo on the bus. I only want to be responsible for me. I go to work, I go home.
But it's still a leadership role, right?
But
you're still using and exercising your voice, your story, your lived experience. Right now, I'm still in this process of writing book, and because one, it's just I journal every day, and I just love to get everything out, and I feel that even if one person buys the book, somebody in my family will probably buy it. Then at least I feel like I accomplished it. But I completely get, I have my associates. I don't want to say I only have my associates, but I have associates in art and science and psychology. People would often say, Carol, you need to be a counselor, this, that, and the other. But this was, I let the little girl out of the box. And sharing my story, sharing my lived experience gave me a whole nother platform, and also gave me another ideal of what it meant to be a leader.
Yes.
What is that for you?
Oh my God. It is uncomfortable, I'm gonna be honest. Like, what's uncomfortable, I don't like the praise that comes with it when I see individuals, oh, you helped me so much, you did this, you were my counselor here, you did this. That bothers
I still
me.
get calls.
That bothers me.
At least for people I trained.
I love the work that I do. I found my purpose. I work on purpose now. And I say purpose not from the point of doing something intentional,
It's
but
passion.
being on my purpose. Like I'm aligned with my purpose, so it's not work. But I'm never comfortable with the praise and all that.
Yeah.
Because that's not truly what I do it for. What I do comes from a very authentic place in my soul. So I don't want the pat on the back, the attaboy. I truly believe when you're doing what you were supposed to do, you don't need credit for it.
Right.
That's like when I hear gentlemen say, I'm a good father. Dude, you're supposed to be. Or listen, I didn't go to jail in 6 months. You really wasn't supposed to go there the first time. Let's be honest. So me doing what I do, I'm supposed to do it because I owe.
Yeah.
I owe because I owe a debt to people in society and neighborhoods that I robbed from and took from. I always say I'm a murderer. I murdered spirits. I crush individual spirits in relationships and like that. So I owe. So this is cleaning up my ledger so I give back. I pour back into people that some don't even know they need it because no one poured into me. So I want to break this chain and pour into other people and say, hey, you don't have to go down this road. I've been there. I know it's around the corner. But if you need to go around the corner, go ahead. Go take a peek.
I'll be here.
I'll be right here when you come back around. Now I'll show you how to get away from that corner. But if you need to go look at it, please do. And get that out of your system.
Right. And I think, again, we were talking about it earlier, that our addiction may have taken 10 years to get to where it's at today. People are in active addiction at less than a year. And again, we came from a place where we took a stick and a ball and we were out there, or you take a box came with a Christmas present in it and we made it into a clubhouse. Kids, young people today, we see at such an alarming rate how they're connected to their phones and electronics. All they know is school shootings and 9/11, and so when you were working in the jail, and I know that you left, for several reasons, but when you were working in the jail, did you see this younger population of young people, and how did you navigate in with them? Like, we say meeting people where they're at. Well, it's kind of hard if you're 50, 60 years old and you're talking to a 17, 18, 20-year-old. Yeah.
What I did, I removed my expectation.
Okay.
So I realized the population that I was working at Manson Youth, the population is 15 to 21. And the two cottages I was primarily overseeing was I and J. Those are the 15 to 17-year-olds. And if they were there, they had real heinous crimes. Their crimes was too severe to go to regular detention.
Right.
So now I'm talking to a 16-year-old that's in there for murder. He has $1 million bond. I can't talk to him like I would talk to a 30-year-old about recovery. They don't see the connection between their drug use
Yeah.
in their crimes or anything.
Yeah.
They think they was having fun.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they're accustomed to.
Right.
So I had to remove the expectation that I was going to do anything more
Mm-hmm.
than plant a seed that may not render any results for the next 10 years.
Right.
Maybe 10 years from now, they would remember what they heard me say,
Mm-hmm.
and mentally they'll go back to that exact moment.
Mm-hmm.
But right then, I had to realize I was dealing with children.
Yeah. You got to
Children,
change your language.
yeah, children that never
Mm-hmm.
had responsibility. They never had a male role model to rear them in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
They were allowed to be what they were because, for the most part, many of them, at such a young age, they were the man of the house
Mm-hmm.
because they come from addicted parents and they bring drugs in the
One
house.
parent phone
And
home. Yeah.
yeah, they go in, they supply the parent with drugs and stuff like that and
Mm-hmm.
pay for food. So to them,
Mm-hmm.
they were the man of the house. There was
Right.
no one above them. So now they come to prison.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they're going to defy authority.
Right.
So I had to remove the expectation and just truly meet them where they're at. I
Mm-hmm.
figured out they love basketball, whether they was good at it or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I would hold groups
Mm-hmm.
in the gym. If you answer this question, you can do this. If you answer this, you can do. And I made the groups around basketball while trying to teach them some things.
Yeah.
I
I
had
love
to
that.
use their interests.
You know, I did for about a year. Yeah. So at Westchester County Corrections, I was subcontracting with nonprofit organization out of Westchester, and I brought in the recovery coaching training.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, my format, I don't stick to the script. Like, I have a bunch of papers in front of me right now, and I'm not sticking to the script. I love the concept, the outline of training people with lived experience. And this program, Lives Forward, they called it. And, you know, they got some funding around it. And, you know, bringing in, I realized that going in, and I was working with males and females, non-binary folks that were in the classes. Only 10 people in the class, and in each class, and I did 4 classes. And what I found is that the learning, some people were just getting their GED,
Mm-hmm.
right? They actually had to split their time with me, and they were just finishing up getting in their GED, you know, and meeting them where they're at educational wise was really where, because a lot of the content in the recovery coaching was very foreign. You know, use a lot of big words, scientific
Mm-hmm.
words. I love to work the art of recovery versus the science of recovery.
Yes.
Both are very necessary in this field. And so when we went around first, you know, first day, you know, just kind of getting to know each other, setting out the rules, you know, the
Mm-hmm.
expectations, so on and so forth. And I found that we had spoken word artists in the room.
Mm-hmm.
We had grandmoms in the room. We had, you know, granddads in the room with a lot of medical issues.
Mm-hmm.
We had folks that English was not their first language. We had just, you know, a very eclectic people, the world as we live in today. You know, it wasn't just one shade.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what I often would go off script
Mm-hmm.
and really focus in. So on graduation day, our spoken word artist wrote a spoken poem and recited it in front of the warden, in front of, you know, his peers, in front of everyone, while he was, and also getting this beautiful certificate
Mm-hmm.
from us and from the state. And sadly, I didn't feel like they had a great exit program.
Yes.
You know, so when people were released, they were supposed to contact me so that I could help them take the next steps, you know,
Mm-hmm.
get them prepared, you know, to take the state test. You know, we had funding around that and so on and so forth. I may have gotten too 3 calls in the year period of time out of 40 people that I trained. In as you've seen, and from your own view, and then as you've seen people re-entering into, where does Gordon, the professional, meet Gordon, the person with lived experience? Is there a separation?
There,
How did you roll yourself into that and helping folks in reentry? Because I know you were also part of
I
other programs.
I learned to what person I brought to the table, what aspect or combination thereof. It was person specific.
Mm-hmm.
So I would look at the individual, listen to the individual, and what they needed. That's what I provided.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them just needed the professional.
Yeah.
Some needed the lived experience, just so they didn't feel alone. I remember when I was at a reentry center, I had an amazing good friend. She's a dear friend, and I gave her first job there. She's a great case manager now, and I used to always tell her, hold back on telling them that you have lived experience incarcerated. Not that you're ashamed of it. Let that work for you. Because when you start out, yes, I'm a person in long-term recovery. Yes, I used to have an inmate number. A lot of times, if it's not presented properly, you'll make yourself seem more of an ally than a provider.
Right.
So I allow my lived experience to instill hope. And sometimes you need to open up the door with it because you realize they're so resistant and distrusting.
Right.
And sometimes you need them to lower the barrier a little bit to see, okay, I'm one of you.
Right.
I'm just here. You see the now, but let me explain to you the how. I started where you're at. And so it all depends on what's really needed.
Yes. Yeah. And that's where we're putting our active listening hats on, and not making that assumption, not taking things personally if they don't take any of the suggestions that you provide to them. You may, yes, they've already been given a laundry list of, you got to see your parole officer, your probation officer, you got to be here, and that's what we also, I saw a lot of working in, detox and in clinical, is that, they needed bus passes, they needed housing, they needed, if they didn't get, into a reentry house or something like that, they wanted to make reconnections with their family, but they weren't ready. Their family didn't want them. And again, that family recovery is a whole nother other source. And having those conversations with family, and it's not even about reassuring, but you said it right there, hope. Not that I did it so you can do it too. It's, to me, that's kind of like this little slap in the face.
Yeah.
Again, that's putting a little expectation on it, but it's also saying, like you said, hey, you choose to go around this corner, I'm still going to be here. We know that a lot of people don't make it back.
Yeah, because when we think about it, most, especially young men of color coming from inner communities, all they ever heard was, you're just like your father. You're not going to be this. You're not going to be that. So when they come out, they have this idea that it's predestined that they're going to be a mess up. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. So with the hope is not that you need to do what I did, but the hope is that, okay, there's another avenue. Right. There's another outcome. If you choose, you could go that way, or you could go this way, or you could chart a new path in between both. But you don't have to listen to the conditioning that this is where you're going to be. You're going to be jailed. Because I remember hearing you're going to be in prison or dead before you're 18.
Right.
That's not a fact.
Right.
That's just someone's opinion.
Exactly.
But a lot of times when we hear it from those that's supposed to be caretakers, we take it as law. And sometimes all we need is someone to assure us that there are other options,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel that's my obligation and my role.
And as tomorrow is New Year's Eve, right? And we many of us, that hopefully those that are be seeing this podcast will say, wow, I got through 2025.
Mm-hmm.
We're still seeing so much chaos,
Yes.
Healthcare, we were struggling with healthcare
Mm-hmm.
already, and now it seems like it's not getting better for today, just for today. And also the judicial system,
Yes.
and how we're overly incarcerating people that are United States citizens. And again, I don't want to make, this last question in regards to anything political, but I would love, if you feel comfortable, sharing what and it's not a resolution, but what your hope is for 2026 in regards to your personal life and what's going on in the world today.
So my hope for the coming year for me is continuous growth.
Mm-hmm.
To go even deeper with peeling back the onion, to learning more intimately who Gordon is,
Mm-hmm.
and not being afraid to live and own the space,
Mm-hmm.
and tell myself I I can take space anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
and it's okay.
Yeah.
That's my hope for me. And as far as the society we live in, I hope it gets better, but unfortunately, I look at it the way um, DCF was. It was DCYS back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back then, there was no child protection laws,
Right.
and then the pendulum swung all the way over here, and it was overlawed because now all of a sudden a child had more rights than a parent, and it's slowly shifting to some neutrality. And I truly believe on the climate of the world, it may get worse before it get better, or it may start to. It can't get much worse. I'm gonna be honest, in my opinion.
Right.
However, I think slowly it's gonna that's gonna decline because it can't maintain that altitude for long.
Right. They're trying to wind us down, but there's a lot of us that won't let it happen.
Because I could go on a tangent of my views of this and that,
Mm-hmm.
but why?
Yeah.
I'm just accepting that things are better in some areas, and I'll accept that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll accept the fact that it's been normalized to speak about mental health and trauma and stuff. That's been normalized. That can become a daily conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take those wins,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll wait on the others if they come.
Right. I love that, because when I think about, I didn't have a voice when I was being abused as a child. I didn't have a voice even when I was using actively, because I didn't want to have a voice. I wanted to stay silent. I wanted to disappear.
Yes.
I was hoping, there was many times I hoped that whatever drugs that I was using at the time would take me out.
Yes.
And alleviate my mother of all the pain that I had caused her and other people in my family. And even I've had suicidal ideation in recovery, because the pain had gotten so great that I didn't want to do the work anymore. I was like, I'm just so tired. I'm just so tired. But I realized that my purpose, my passions are my purpose. And I'm still here for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And my voice has merit and is truth. It's my truth.
Mm-hmm.
And like you, I'm not looking for a pat on the back, but I do every once in a while get that thank you for sharing who you are with me, because it's now allowed me to exercise my voice. And to me, that's a redemption.
Oh, absolutely.
That is me crossing over into something that I could have never imagined. My life today is beyond my wildest dreams.
It makes those things we endured and went through and made it to the other side have a meaning. They're not just a cosmic joke.
Mm-hmm.
I went through this so I can help you through it, or so you don't have to go through it.
Right. And I feel that you and I gotten through incarceration, abuse, racism, and we're still getting through it.
Oh yeah,
going through it daily.
I'm still dealing with that.
You know, drug addiction, recovery, what's going on in the United States, we can get through that too.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and for those that aren't able to exercise their voice, whatever for whatever reasons, like you also mentioned, you know, it's gonna end at some point.
Yes.
You know, and I'm hoping that I'm still here fighting the fight, you know, whether it's behind a computer or having a conversation on somebody else on the phone, but also removing my bias has been really important, and being open-minded to the other side, you know, not for why they're doing what they're doing, but to be there to have a better understanding so that I know how to move and move myself, because I cannot sit still. I cannot stay in that stagnant space, and that's why I started this podcast, because I felt that this was not an easy way, because there's nothing easy about doing a podcast. It was the most for me, putting my voice out there and other people, and showcasing other people or highlighting other people's voice is so important. So I want to thank you so much.
Thank you.
For us. We're going to have some food. We're going to have some soul food after this. But I'm just going to close this out. Any last thoughts, words that you would like to share? This was so
refreshing. Thank you so much. It gave me more information to look into. I came up with the title for my book while sitting here. It's about the conditioning. Oh no, it's all conditioning, because that's what shapes our views, whether it's this side or that side. People believe what they believe because they were conditioned. Everything is conditioning. If I was taught since I was a child, this green cover right here was blue, this color was blue, I'm going to argue with it's blue because I was conditioned to believe that.
Exactly.
So I need to give everyone grace when it comes to their belief that doesn't align with mine.
Absolutely. Beautifully said. And my book is Into Me, I See.
Okay.
So it's broken. It's not intimacy. It's Into Me, I See. Because that little girl I hid from and abandoned. And she's the person that sits in front of you today. And I absolutely love her and adore her. And I'm going to protect her to the end of my days. So this wasn't just a conversation. It was a testimony. Gordon, thank you so much. And
thank you for having me.
This is wonderful, and be in my little space here. If this episode moved you or moved any thoughts of where you want to go in your life, please reach out to me. I'll have Gordon's information also too on the podcast when I launch it. And thank you so much for being part of Cruzin on the Edge. This is a community of conversation. Like I said, real talk, real results, real purpose, and real recovery happens.
Absolutely. So take care.
Thank you.